Hi there, and welcome to our Simplifying Fractions review video. My name is Mrs. Benson, and I am your instructional math coach. For this video today, you are going to need some paper, something to write with, and a calculator if you have one handy. If you also have access to a multiplication chart, that will be great too. Please pause the video and make sure you have all of these materials before moving forward. Let's start with doing some quick vocabulary review. Factors. Factors are numbers that are multiplied together to create another number. So here in this multiplication sentence of 2 times 3 equals 6, 2 and 3 are both factors, and 6 is the product. The greatest common factor is the greatest number that is a factor of 2 or more other numbers. I'm going to demonstrate this through the numbers 36 and 48. Here we have listed all of the factors of 36. And here are all of the factors of 48. Once you have made that list, you're going to then compare the two lists to find all of the common factors. So here we see that 1 is a common factor, and 2, 3, 4, 6, not 9, not 8, but 12. Not these numbers, not these, and not this. So now that we have identified all of the greatest common factors, just the factors, we're now going to look to identify the greatest common factor. So by greatest, we mean the largest number, the number with the most value. Looking at these numbers, we see that 12 is the number with the largest value in both of our circled lists. So 12 is the GCF of 36 and 48. Now it is time for you to start practicing this skill with me. I want you to take one of your pieces of paper, and I want you to draw a fraction bar, leave some space, an equal sign, and another fraction bar. And then below, you can make a list from 1 through 12. Pause the video and do that now. We're going to start our first practice with the fraction 36 over 48, since we already have that information from the previous slide. As you can see here, I have now marked on my list from 1 through 12 all of the common factors of 36 and 48. And I crossed off the numbers that were not common factors. Here you see the greatest common factor is 12. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write divided by 12 by both our numerator and our denominator. Now, 36 divided by 12 is 3. And 48 divided by 12 is 4. So 36 over 48, simplified in lowest terms, is 3/4. Let's continue with 8/10. I have 8/10 written, and I have my numbers 1 through 12. So I'm going to ask myself, can each of these numbers be divided by the factors below? Well, we know that any number can be divided by 1. And then I know that both 8 and 10 are divided by 2 because they are both even numbers. And then I start thinking about the other factors, and I'll think of 8. 3 is not a factor of 8. Neither is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is its own factor. Okay. But I'm not going to mark it yet because I need to see if it's also a factor of 10. 3 I know is not a factor of 10. 4 is not. 5 is a factor of 10, but it's not a factor of 8. So it's not a common factor. And we can also eliminate the rest as well. We don't need to go further than 8. So in this case, 2 is the greatest common factor. To divide each by 2, 8 divided by 2 would give us 4. Correct. Because anything we number divided by 2, it's like dividing it in half. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the simplest form of 8/10 is 4/5. All right, for our next fraction of 6/9, I want you to come up with all of the factors for both 6 and 9. Identify the common factors, and then continue with this video. Please pause the video now. Right, now that you are finished, you should notice that you have only 2 common factors, 1 and 3. 3 is our greatest common factor. So we can work to divide both our numerator and our denominator by 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2, great. And 9 divided by 3 is 3, good job. So 6/9 simplified into lowest terms is 2/3. Sometimes we think that we have reduced our fraction to a simplest form, and sometimes we actually haven't. So let's talk about what that looks like. Let's say in this case of 12 over 24, you say to yourself, oh, 12 and 24 are both even numbers, so I can divide them both by 2. In this case, you would get 6/12. You always want to make sure that you ask yourself, every time you work to simplify your fractions, did I reduce as far as I could? So I'm looking at 6/12 here. I say to myself, hey, wait a minute. Both of these numbers are also divided by 2. I could go further. Yes, you can. So then that means that you did not divide by the greatest common factor the first time around. So let's continue and reduce 6/12 to its simplest form. Okay, here we have 6/12, and this time let's just make sure that we have the greatest common factor. Now I know that if I go by the factors of 6, 1, 2, 3, not 4, not 5, and 6. And the factors of 12, 1, also 2, also 3, but not 4, not 5, and also 6. I could keep going, but it's not necessary because these are not common factors of 6, or factors of 6, excuse me. So seeing here, my most greatest common factor is actually 6. Six divided by 6, 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So our original fraction of 12 over 24 in its simplest form is actually 1/2. Now, in theory, you could continue to divide both your numerator and denominator by 2 until you got down to the simplest form. You could also try that with another factor, such as dividing both the numerator and denominator by, let's say, 3, 4, or 5. But you should always check and ask yourself, before you consider yourself finished, is what I consider my final result, what I believe is the fraction in the simplest form, do they share any factors other than 1? If the answer is yes, you need to keep going. Now it's time to practice on your own. Set up another piece of paper. Get ready to simplify another fraction. This is our fraction that we are going to work on simplifying, 15 over 20. Once you are ready, pause the video, find the common factors and the greatest common factor of both 15 and 20, and then use that information to simplify your fraction into lowest terms. Pause the video now. Okay, hopefully you should have found that the greatest common factor of both 15 and 20 was 5. And when we divide 15 by 5, we get 3. And when we divide 20 by 5, we get 4. So 15 over 20 simplified is 3/4. Okay, let's set up to do another one. Pause the video and continue when you are ready to move on. Let's try 9/15. Pause the video and work to simplify, and then unpause to check your work. Pause the video now. Did you get 3/5? If you did, great job. Now I can ask myself, how do I know if 3/5 is 9/15 in simplest form? Okay, well, for one, I know that 3 and 5 do not have any common factors other than 1. If I wasn't sure about that, I could make that factors list of both numbers to double check. It is a common misconception to believe that if the numerator and denominator are larger numbers, meaning 2 digits or greater, that the fraction cannot be in simplest form. But in this case, 14 over 15. Let's check to see if they have any common factors. Now I'm going to make the list up here. The factors for 14 are 1, 2, 7, and 14. The factors for 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. Well, the common factors are 1. Now, what were to happen if we were to divide by the greatest common factor? "14 divided by 1 is 14, and 15 divided by 1 is 15. Well, that gives us the same fraction. Another example to check to see if your fraction is reduced to lowest terms is to have some number sense and analyze both the numerator and the denominator and ask yourself, are either of these numbers prime numbers? As a quick review, a prime number only has two factors, 1 and itself. So let's figure out the factors of 3. 1 and 3. Factors of 7, 1 and 7. Both of these numbers are prime. They only have two factors, 1 and itself. So in this case, both the numerator and the denominator are prime. But what if it was 3/8? Our factors of 3 are 1 and 3, and our factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. So even though they both, again, only have the greatest common factor of 1, and in this case, this number is prime. However, don't let prime numbers catch you. In this case, we now have 3 9ths. While yes, they both have a common factor of 1, they also have a common factor of 3. So a prime number being either the numerator or the denominator does not guarantee that the fraction is in simplest form. If both numbers are prime, then you know that it is reduced to simplest form. So if you haven't brushed up on your prime numbers, now is a great time to do it. I want to thank you so much for watching this video today and working with me. If you have any questions, you have two options. One is to reach out to your math teacher. The other is to connect with me at the email address shown on the screen. We're looking forward to talking with you in the next video. Thanks, and have a great day.